You don't want to be seen. You want to be chosen. And those are not the same thing. You've changed your voice to sound softer, smaller, less like you. You've smiled when your chest was screaming. You've walked into rooms and scanned them like a strategist, calculating how to fit, how to blend, how to become exactly what they needed before they even asked. Not because you're a liar, not because you're weak, but because somewhere in the quiet corners of your childhood, your adolescence, your survival, you learned a brutal lesson. Being yourself was a risk. Being real could cost you love. So you became a chameleon, a mirror reflecting what others wanted to see. You're not fake. You're a goddamn artist at disappearing. But the question lingers like a ghost in the room. At what cost? Where it started? Survival disguised as personality. You weren't born this way. You didn't come into the world shape-shifting, molding yourself into someone else's outline. You arrived whole, messy, loud, unfiltered, with a laugh that spilled out like sunlight, with dreams that didn't need permission. But the world doesn't always know what to do with someone so alive. Maybe it was a parent who flinched when you spoke too loudly, their eyes narrowing as if your joy was an inconvenience. Maybe it was a teacher who praised you only when you sat still, followed rules, became invisible. Maybe it was a friend, a lover, a room full of people who only seemed to love you when you were useful, when you were quiet, when you were easy, when you didn't make waves. So you learned to bend, to fold, to shrink yourself into shapes that felt less like you and more like safety. You built a personality that was easy to swallow, a version of you that didn't make anyone uncomfortable. You learned to bite your tongue until the taste of blood was familiar. You learned to dim your light until it felt normal to live in shadows. You told yourself, if I can be what they need, maybe I'll finally be enough. But it was never enough, was it? Because the love you got wasn't love. It was conditional. It was access granted only when you played the part. And the real you, the one with sharp edges, wild dreams, and a heart that refuses to stay quiet, was buried under the performance. You became a stranger to yourself, wearing a mask so convincing you almost forgot what your own face looked like. The cost of always becoming shape-shifting doesn't just protect you, it erases you. You wake up one day and realize you're reliving a life that doesn't feel like yours. You're in relationships where you're more actor than partner, more script than soul. You say yes when your body is screaming no, because saying no feels like pulling a thread that could unravel everything. You laugh at jokes that don't land, nod at opinions you don't share, and stay silent when your heart wants to scream. You're exhausted. Not just tired, exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. It's the kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying a version of yourself that's heavier than you are. It's the weight of pretending, of performing, of keeping the mask in place even when no one's watching. And the worst part? You start forgetting who you are, what you like, what you believe, what you want. Your favorite song becomes the one they liked. Your favorite color becomes the one that matched their aesthetic. Your dreams, they're somewhere in the attic, packed away with the parts of you that didn't make the cut. You've become a collage of other people's expectations, a mosaic of moments where you chose safety over self. And none of it feels like home. You look in the mirror and see someone who survived, yes, but at the cost of living. You've been so busy becoming what others need that you've forgotten what it feels like to just be, to exist without apology, to take up space without shrinking, to love without performing. The shame that keeps it going. When you start to see it, this shape-shifting, this endless adapting, you feel it like a punch to the gut. Not anger at first, but shame. A quiet, gnawing shame that whispers, how could you let this happen? How could you betray yourself like this? You replay the moments. The times you said yes when you meant no. The times you smiled when you wanted to cry. The times you dimmed your light to make someone else's shine brighter. And you hate yourself for it. Not because you were wrong, but because you see now how much it cost you. But let me stop you there. Let me hold up a mirror that isn't cracked. You didn't betray yourself. You survived. You were a child, a teenager, a person navigating a world that taught you love was a transaction. You weren't weak for wanting connection. You weren't foolish for bending to get it. You were human, doing what humans do, finding a way to belong in a world that doesn't always make room for you. That shape-shifting? It was your armor. It was the way you kept yourself safe when the world felt like a locked door. It was the way you made it through rooms that weren't built for you. It was survival, and survival is not shame. But survival isn't the same as living, and you're starting to feel that difference now, aren't you? That quiet ache, that whisper in your chest that says, I want to be me again. I want to come home. The truth about healing. This healing isn't a grand gesture. It's not standing on a stage declaring your true self to the world in one perfect cinematic moment. It's not a checklist or a 5-step plan. It's not finding the real you and never wavering again. Healing is slow. It's messy. It's awkward as hell. It's saying no when your mouth wants to say yes and feeling your heart race like you've just broken a law. It's wearing what feels good, even if it doesn't match the room's aesthetic. It's letting yourself be misunderstood and surviving it. It's being too much, too loud, too weird, too honest, and not apologizing for it. It's noticing the moments when you start to shapeshift again, when your voice softens, when your shoulders slump, when you catch yourself performing. And instead of hating yourself for it, you pause, you breathe, you say, I see you, old habit. Thank you for keeping me safe. But I don't need you anymore. The truth is, you were never too much. You were never too loud, too weird, too raw. You were surrounded by people who were disconnected from themselves, and they couldn't handle your light because they hadn't found their own. Their discomfort wasn't about you. It was about them. And the ones who truly love you? They won't flinch when you stop performing. They'll stay when your edges are sharp, when your voice is loud, when your truth takes up space. They'll see you, not the version you crafted to be chosen, but the you that's been waiting to come home. The sacred undoing. So no, you're not broken. You're not a puzzle to be solved or a project to be fixed. You're a soul remembering what it feels like to be whole. This isn't a breakdown. This is a becoming. A slow, sacred undoing of the masks, the armor, the shapes you've twisted yourself into. You're not starting over. You're coming back. To the you who laughed without checking the room first. To the you who dreamed without asking permission. To the you who existed before the world taught you to hide. And the beauty of it? You've been here all along, waiting, whispering, holding space for the moment you'd stop running and turn around. So turn around. Look at her, the one who's been waiting for you. She's not perfect, she's not polished, but she's yours. Welcome back to your own soul. You've been waiting for you.